Hi traders, welcome back for another live technical session. 5 minutes away from the London session starting. Should be roughly about 5 to 8 in the morning over in the UK. So any traders that are joining us from the UK, welcome. So it's been a pretty insane last couple of days and weeks. I don't know if you guys have been looking at my daily market breakdowns, but within those, we have just seen large amounts of volatility across the board, especially because of the DXY and all the issues and all the sentiment that is going on between the US and Iran. I don't think they can make up their minds on which way they want to go, and because of that, neither does the market. So also in other news, what's quite interesting is that a lot of the stock market has been pushing up quite aggressively over the last couple of days as well. Again, in anticipation for the arrival, I can only assume, is SpaceX coming out on the 12th of June. They will be IPOing, as well as a lot of speculation around the development and the growth of the AI industry. Which is also being that has also been pushing a lot of the semiconductor companies into the upside. Nvidia announcing their new partnership with ARM, pushing ARM up by about 400% over the last couple of days. So fantastic, well done on ARM, great British company there, who has just been given that contract, I think, to work with Nvidia, pushing all of those prices up. So if we take a little step back, and we can now see that seems to be a very quite a big disconnect in the market. We're seeing a huge bubble forming within the stock market itself. Nasdaq 100, S&P 500 pushing themselves up quite aggressively. What often happens is that the US dollar somewhat slides when this is happening, because there are more attractive assets out there for investors to be putting their money on. And that's not exactly what we've been seeing. In addition, when there is some areas of uncertainty, we often see gold prices pushing up, which again is not happening. Gold is actually going down. And so this is a little bit of a concern. And we are, like I said, in a more of a risk on market, meaning people are happy to take leaps of faith in speculation and these speculating assets, financial instruments. But Bitcoin is free falling. So we're in a very interesting time at the moment, and we can certainly see that reflected in the largest traded industry in the world, Forex trading. Um, so what I'll do is I'll go through what I had already established over those daily morning breakdowns. Remember, guys, so I'm using a supply and demand plus liquidity mixed in with a bit of price action trading strategy. So that's what a lot of these boxes are all about. So you can see we've got on the 4 hourly. In fact, I'm going to zoom out to the weekly, because it's a little bit easier for us to see what is actually happening to this market on the weekly. And this is going to guide a lot of where we are hopefully going, or where the market where the price is eventually wanting to move to. So we've got the price here. This is the peak. This is the high. Up here, we can see then the price push down quite aggressively into the downside, tapping in to this weekly demand zone that was created several weeks ago, or several months ago. We know that this is a demand zone because when price was originally here, it came up and market structure was broken very nicely. Where's my tools? Where's my tools? Here we go. We can see market structure was broken quite nicely up here, and so we can safely say that if price retraces back into this area, we're likely going to see another reaction into the upside, which we did. So we saw the price came back down, it tapped into this weekly demand zone, it pushed itself up, again breaking market structure here, forming a new weekly demand zone, and we could see this free fall of the GBP pushing strengthening, sorry, so devaluing into the downside. So the GBP was losing value returned to this newly formed weekly demand zone, and now we're pushing back up again. So the question is, how far are we going to go? Are we going to retrace back into this supply zone? Maybe. So are we seeing the price going up into here and eventually now wanting to go to start pushing itself down, breaking all of these market structures and grabbing liquidity? That is one option. The other option is that we are just in a general downtrend because we're producing lower highs. Let me just move this over here. We are producing lower highs over here, a lower high over here. But contrary to these lower highs being produced, we are producing higher lows. Okay. So this puts us in a little bit of an awkward situation, awkward position. Because of these high lows, and because we can see that there is a clear supply zone being made or formed, then on the lower time frames, we are technically bullish. So we are looking for these long positions on GBP USD, and that is how I came to that conclusion. Okay. So let's drop down to the 4-hour frame, and we can see this pair in a little bit more detail. So what has happened here is that price came down to that weekly demand. It started to surge back up. It came back down for a bit of a retest. Any of you fair value gap traders would have probably monetized, capitalized off of that, entering into that option, coming up, breaking market structure and creating this new demand zone, which eventually became a verified demand zone because the price came up again. It re-entered that verified demand zone, failing to break this low and continuing into the upside, breaking market structure, forming another demand zone. Let me just mark that out here. Forming another demand zone, but you can quite clearly see that it wasn't respected. It was respected at first, and anybody who would have entered into that long position from that zone, I wouldn't have blamed you. High probability area there, in the hopes that it was going to continue going up and breaking that market structure. I think that was a wonderful setup. So if you got stopped out, don't kick yourself because of that. I think that was a really nice setup. But unfortunately, it continued to push, further down. And in fact, I actually capitalized on that in a short position, which I can remove now. And so then we saw that the price continued to come back down, re-entering into this verified demand zone. And as we know, liquidity likes to rest below some of these previous lows. And so we were just waiting to see what the price was doing when it came back down. And we can quite clearly see that it had grabbed liquidity and started to push back up. But anybody who had entered into that position, that would have been a stroke of luck because you would have caught a really great reversal here, but there wasn't much confluence or confirmation to go off of on that move until we saw the price came up and it started to retrace back down to here, and then it started to push up, and so it broke that market structure. And then what happened? Really frustratingly, we got that breaker structure. We can then see a new demand zone was formed, and we just saw this nasty looking huge wick candle here. We can even see that represented in the volume here. A lot of selling pressure, pushing the price down quite aggressively, but then ultimately pushing itself, being rejected. And that's a really nice, strong price action wick that is telling us the price wants to continue into the upside. Now, what is very frustrating, although remember we're looking for long positions, now what is really frustrating is that we've just seen this, and this has just occurred. We have this wick break weak structure, which maybe you could say, okay, well, perhaps what's happening here is just liquidity being grabbed. Hopefully it is, and hopefully we will now, on the lower frame, start to see some confirmation that it does in fact want to push into the upside. So that is where we are going to go and look. So on the 15-minute frame, we can quite clearly see that we have some very strong breaks of structure into the downside. So we are short-term bearish. Again, breaks of structure, a lot of this region here may have been, a lot of liquidity was likely waiting here. So what I would be doing with this, oh, this is a very nice setup. Look at this. So a really nice setup here. So we can see a really nice long wicked candle here. We can see the price is starting to react here. I wouldn't be, if you wanted to put in a stroke of luck, and just jump in something and do something such as this, again, I wouldn't really be that upset if I had lost that trade, because this does look quite nice, to be honest. It looks like a pretty nice little setup here. But ultimately, based on our strategy, what we want to wait for is the price to maybe come up to about here. And then we kind of want to see it get rejected. I think it will come back down again. And we want to see it get rejected here. And then we would enter into that position. That's how we would play this. And then entirely up to you whether or not you want to run with a 1-to-3, 1-to-4 risk to reward ratio, or just not TP it at all and just let it run up to that previous higher time frame weekly supply zone. So many different ways to play with that one, right? But ultimately, yes, I am bullish on GBP USD, although the markets are just absolutely insane these days. So we could quite easily get stopped out very, very quickly. So you got to be quite careful with all of that. Okay, my PC is lagging just a little bit there. Let's head over to Euro US dollar. Very similar strategy, very similar process that we are looking at over here. So I've zoomed out to the weekly frame. Now, I did not analyze this as best as I should have. Okay, well, what we can somewhat infer from here, we're in an uptrend, quite clear here. We're riding very high above the 200 EMA. This is the weekly, right? So we're on a really broad overview of the market. We're in an uptrend. We can quite clearly see that a break of structure had occurred here. And the last component I think I was supposed to actually take these two, but instead I took these 3 candles and I created this weekly unverified demand zone, which I guess should now be verified. And the reason why it is a verified demand zone is because, look, the price came up. Remember, we're on a really high time frame here. The price came up, it came down, and we can see that it tapped into that demand zone. And after tapping into that demand zone, it pushed up and it created a really nice breaker structure. Okay. So we can see that. We can see that the... Oh, hold on. Let me just change this back to verified. So because we can see that, we can see the price pushed up, came down, pushed up again, and then it trickled back down to this area here. I didn't do an analysis back here, but if I were to do that analysis, and what are we seeing here? We're seeing that breaker structure occurring from roughly around based on this area here. And I think we can see some price trying to reject when it did re-enter into that zone. But what we want to kind of look for at the moment are on the more recent, the more recent frames to find our supply and demand. Okay, so price pushed up, huge rejection here, pushing itself back down, coming back up, breaking the market structure here. I know you can't really see it. I've got a lot of text and a lot of boxes and imagery going on here, so apologies for that. But there is a breaker structure here, really nice breaker structure, and a full body wick breaker structure as well. So we can infer that this then becomes our new demand zone, our new weekly demand. Okay, that's how I came to that conclusion. And we can see the price had re-entered into that area, and there is some reaction to this area at this point in time. Okay, so remember, I'm looking for longs. We're in a bull market. We're pushing up. We're above the 200 EMA. It is looking good. That is what the technicals are telling me. Okay, right. So now we can see that the price trickled back down. It wasn't so aggressive. We didn't just see a one single candle push into the down. We had trickled back into this verified daily demand. So on the daily time frame, within the weekly demand, here is the daily demand. Okay. The daily demand, we can take this area here, which I have already done, because after price was here, it pushed up aggressively, breaking market structure. Okay, that's what BOS stands for, break of structure, if you guys were unaware. We can now see the price trickle back down into the daily demand, and it is now creating ascending lows and ascending highs. Okay, so we're having a reaction here at the moment. If I were to enter into a position, I would be looking at doing something such as this. Yeah, I guess a 1 to 3 even. I'll lock that in. Might get stopped out, of course. There's always a possibility of being stopped out. And the reason why I chose this area here is because we can see that the market broke structure here. And the final candle that created that break of structure is here. That would be our daily supply. So if there's going to be a pullback into the upside, then this is where it's likely going to go. And if it does go there, that's where I want to exit my position. Okay. So let's drop down to the 4-hourly frame. I should have some verified. There's quite a lot going on here, isn't there? That's a breaker structure, but verified tap in demand. That was from last week. Not last week. Christ, in April, right on the 4-hour frame. Okay. So we can see the price came down, verified tap-in zone. If you had entered that, fantastic. Liquidity was swept, pushed itself back down, but failed to break that market structure. Continued into the upside, price rejected. Liquidity swept again. If you had entered into 1 to 2.5, maybe 3 risk to reward ratio, congratulations. And then tried to push up, but it failed to break. And then this is where the market shift had occurred. And we can see that because there was a really nice breaker structure here on the 4-hour frame. So on the lower frame, this is what was telling us that we're now going into the downside. Shorts are recommended. And so we now push down back into this daily demand, and now we're seeing this reaction. So on the 4-hourly frames, we are just seeing exactly what we're seeing on DXY, which is just this horrible consolidating market that nobody wants to trade. And it's been like this since when? Since the 17th of May, 15th of May, which has been like what, just 3-4 weeks, 3.5 weeks of absolute mayhem on the markets, which has just been so annoying. Anyway, we are breaking market structure quite nicely here on the 4-hour frame. You can see it right here, another break of structure into the upside. And because of that break of structure, this tells us that, okay, price may want to continue pushing into the upside. There's an extra... I'll just delete that. And I'll redo this. Look at that. It's a really nice full body breaker structure as well into the upside, right? So another really nice breaker structure. Price came up, price came up, failed, creating a double top. Stock chart patterns, it's a bearish pattern. Pushed the price down, but it failed to break these previous lows, which is very, very good for us, meaning that the price may in fact want to continue into the upside, which it did. It pushed itself up, came down for, I don't know, any of you fair value gap traders would have capitalized off of that move. If you're a fair value gap trader, you can see that, I guess, well, if you want to take the wick, but you can just take the base of the body. Nice. So if you had entered from here into the upside, good job. Anyway, pushed up, grabbed liquidity again before now pushing down, and we saw a wick break into the down. So this wick break is a weak break, meaning that we are still in a potential, looking for those potential long positions. And now we're seeing a lot of rejection happening here. So if the price does eventually break any of these levels here, so break here or break down here, which is where my stop is, then we're likely going to continue downward, or there will just be a complete act of nature that just stops me out or stops us out from that position. Okay, so looking for longs on Eurodollar, and that's the reason why. From the weekly high, the weekly time frame, all the way down to the 4-hourly frame, we can drop down into the 15-minutely frame later, and that would be where we would want to really refine our entry points. But you just get the general understanding of this top-down analysis, you know, across all of these different pairs. Okay. USD JPY has been climbing very nicely, very slowly. Kind of wish I had entered now, but I told you guys I don't want to enter into this position. I don't want to enter into this Forex pair with all of that manipulation, terrible, terrible manipulation that the Bank of Japan did. So hold on. What I'll do is I'm just going to because this has been here for so long now. What I'll do is I'll reorganize this so that I'm not going to take that. Oh, it's complete manipulation, isn't it? So what I'll do is I want to take 3 candles on here and create my zone from the 3 candles. Remember, guys, trading is subjective to the trader. I think that works. So now I can drop back out to my day. Drop out to my day frame. So what I would label this as strong manipulative supply. Okay, that's where I'm waiting for the price to re-enter. Like if I'm gonna trade this currency pair, this is exactly where I would do it from. Okay, I need to wait and see whether or not the price actually gets there. If we just start to see a dramatic push into downside, which, you know, in all fairness, if we were to just take that previous green candle, which by the way, my green candles are orange, obviously for AIFO's branding, you could say that that's your zone as well, and it's already entered that zone. But we're not seeing substantial amount of push back into the downside, so I still think it's going to push up a little bit more before it starts to head back down. Unsustainable, absolutely insane. Like Japan is, you know, just incredibly highly indebted country, and for is it alleged? I don't know if it's alleged or not. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but in order for a central bank to do this to their own currency, it's pretty bad, right? So that's why I don't want to play with this currency at the moment. However, it has been nicely been pushing itself back into the upside, and we caught this around this region here. Okay, so imagine if we had entered that trade from here. That's what, 426 pips, 429-ish pips. So gosh, I mean, if you were just entering into a nice 1-2 contract lot size, you'd be looking at, like, you know, quite a few $1,000s from that trade. Okay. But anyway, we are in an uptrend. We are pushing up on the JU. What was a new mind here? Those who support weak yen are vomiting now. Oil price up or down, weak yen will still drop. Don't understand why they keep reluctant to launch a good internet. I don't know what this person is talking about, but what we are seeing is that the Japanese yen is pushing itself toward that supply zone, and my sixth sense on what's going to happen when it enters into that box, into that zone, is we're going to see a big drop back into the downside. So you know, unfortunately, I think this manipulation here, let's take a look. We'll drop down to the 15-minutely. Oh dear. Yeah. Okay. Oh no, well, not too bad actually. I thought it would just be like like a 5-minute candle that did that, but it seems to be a series of 15-minute candles. So if we start to see this occurring again, when the price re-enters over here, then, well, you might have your answer. Might have your answer now, actually. No. Okay. We'll see. But I'm not really touching this currency pair. But my general sixth sense at the moment is that it will push. It will push a little bit higher into the strong manipulative supply zone, or just before it. Before then, you know, pushing down quite aggressively. That is my overall idea on that. Heading over to DXY. Big manipulative DXY. Oh, good Lord. Right. Well, we are in an uptrend, and we had a change of character a couple of weeks ago because DXY was just massively falling. And a big reason why it was falling several weeks or months ago, before, by the way, before the Iran conflict, is because we were in a very risk-on market. And when we're in a risk-on market, currency pairs or currencies are a lot less attractive, unless the interest rates are incredibly high. But they're a lot less attractive because we're going to get a better return if we just take our US dollars and we place it in the stock market. That's the idea, right? So when the conflict occurs and global trade comes to a halt, what do? We sell stocks. We sell our assets in the stock market, right? And then we start to purchase currencies that we know are going to give us interest, basically, on all of our millions, right? And I'm not saying that I have millions, but if I'm a hedge fund, then I'm going to put, if I can just offset a lot of my losses by just putting, let's say, $100 million on like a 3% yield, and just get $3 million a month, offsetting some of my other things. Of course I'm going to do it, right? And this greatly pushes the US dollar up, right? So during times of uncertainty, US dollar goes up. That's just a fact. However, the uncertainty has somewhat become less certain, not less certain, but we're more certain of the conflict might not spill over. Iran doesn't seem to want to prolong the conflict. I don't think the US wants to prolong the conflict. There are some, headlines going out about some small attacks going on, and this is what we're seeing. That this is news in action. We're seeing, oh, there is a potential peace deal. Oh, pushed down. Oh, somebody heard that they, pulled out of the peace agreement. Goes up, right? Oh no, we're almost there. Pushed down, right? And then, oh, somebody attacked a base. Push up, right? And that's what we're seeing. This is just a huge bit of uncertainty, right? And so we don't know where the price really wants to go. However, if we take a look and we use our own technical analysis and we zoom out to the weekly frames, we are, or we should be seeing, we're in a downtrend, right? That is my overall analysis at the moment. We are trending down. However, we are producing higher lows, but we are not producing higher highs. Well, sort of. I mean, grab liquidity from up here, but we are not breaking that market structure back into the upside. By the way, look at how far the DXY has fallen. Right? This is incredible. And this was its peak back on the 13th of January 25. Is that inauguration day, whatever. And we just saw this huge push down. Look at that push. And now we're kind of just like consolidating on the weekly, right? Which is not really that nice. So hopefully once the conflicts are once we see more certainty around the conflicts, we're likely going to see the DXY completely push back down. Okay, that's what we're likely going to see, right? And if we see that happen, then all of our major currency pairs, except for JU, is going to go up. Okay, right? And then that falls in line with a lot of our technical analysis on all of our other pairs. Okay, so we're in a downtrend on DXY on the weekly. On the daily, we're just in a bit of consolidation. Nothing's really breaking structure. We're not seeing a very clear trend. Yeah, sure, we saw this push up, and quite honestly, if technicals, remain true, what we should have seen is something like this: dum dum dum, liquidity grabbed, and then a nice pull back to here. It's what we should have seen, okay? But we didn't see that at all. And instead, we just continued consolidating, right? And we don't want to trade that, right? Consolidating markets, we don't want to trade, right? Because it's so uncertain. So on a daily, in many circumstances, we're right in the middle, and we don't know whether or not the price is going to continue surging up or begin pushing itself down. If it goes up, if it does go up, and we see the nice clean break of structure here, then what we're likely going to see is the DXY pushing to any of these three numbers up here. Okay, that's my general analysis. I won't tell you how I came up with those numbers, but generally this is where they're likely going to go. Okay, within these potential supply, potential liquidity, or potential liquidity up here. If we can see that DXY is now pushing up here, and we can see also a lot of rejection often happens when it does reach this point. Then imagine we start to come down, and let's say we broke that market structure. Well, where we're likely going to end up is here toward the year's open, which is usually a nice area of support or a reaction area. And this is likely where we're going to go if we were to push into the downside. You see how confusing it is? And I'm quite certain a lot of you traders out there might have your own strategies and your own thoughts on, okay, well, that's not what I found out. Instead, I found that DXY is going to go up or DXY is going to go down. It's perfectly fine. But based on my supply and demand trading strategy, my idea here is that it's uncertain. Okay, so I would be generally just waiting around to see what is kind of happening with this currency pair. On the hourly frame, yeah, we're creating ascending high, ascending lows, but we are not creating. Let me remove these alerts. Delete this alert. Delete this alert. They were from last week. We're not actually breaking any highs. We're not really breaking any highs. On the lower frames, yeah, we're breaking a bit of highs here, but we're not breaking up higher. So again, bit precarious here. It's looking more like a really odd looking flag, which hopefully won't hold long. I'll draw it out for you so you guys can see what I mean. There you go. It's like an arrow. And it's just breaking into each other. It's just, you know, so I'm not really trading the DXY that much, but I am hoping it does go down, and then that plays really nicely into our technical analysis on all of our other major currency pairs. So that's my general thoughts on the DXY. That's my technical analysis there. Okay, well, we'll take a look at what we'll do is because yeah, I want to get through gold and I want to get through BTC, but what we will do at the moment is take a look at GBP USD. I want to see how it's performing. Okay, it's going back down a little bit. Ooh. Stop pushing down. Yeah, I still wouldn't mind this one. Yeah, of course. Fine, 15-minutely. It's not looking that good here. We got a clean break going down. Although I just like that price action candle. It just looked nice to me. You know, just looked like anything resting below this area was taken. Nah, I'm still happy with that. Even if it gets stopped out, I'm still happy with that. It's fine. Right then, what we'll do is what we'll do is take a look at gold. A lot of you gold traders out there. Big sell-off of gold at the moment. We knew that we were in a downtrend on gold anyway. If you were looking at any of the daily market updates or any of the potential setup, videos from the AIFO Academy, then you would know that we are looking for shorting positions on XAU. However, what we can see and what we have been seeing, I'm on the daily. I'm not doing the weekly on this one, but what we have been seeing is really nice pushes up, change of character into the downside, coming back up, retaking liquidity or re-entering into these potential supply zones, pushing down, breaking market structure, creating a new supply zone. In fact, I can mark this out. Let's take this and let's take this, and this is one of our daily targets. This could be a potential daily supply zone. And let me lock that in for now. I'll refine it a little bit later. But what's quite interesting and what I was quite cautious about is that the price did come down, and it jumped off the 200 EMA, and it jumped off the 200 EMA when it entered into its verified demand zone. It pushed itself up, and I guess it grabbed liquidity here, or we could consider that a break of market structure, and now it's coming back down. So I want to see what's happening on the lower frames. Are we coming back for a retest? That is what I want to know. And we can quite clearly see that a retest had occurred, but it failed to break that high. So reversal is not there yet. Although we've come down, come back up, come down. That should be pushing up now. Let's see what this is doing. This is the ultimate one. That we want to be cautious about. It could be coming back down to this zone here, and if it does, then I'd be looking to do some long positions, trading that pullback. I wouldn't go that far though. I wouldn't go that far. I would probably, yeah, I'll target this area here or this area here. If the price does come down to here, that's what I would be doing. That would be my general analysis for that. For XAU. Ooh, some community discussions. Waiting for the breakdown of a final retest. Ooh, okay, that's cool. Somebody's doing something similar to me. Is gold building a base here or preparing for another leg lower? Nobody replied to that. Oh, this is a very active community, isn't it? Very active. Gold is on a sell 3 minutes ago. Possibly, yeah, down to that retest. Okay, useless information. Nothing happening there. Okay, well, that would be my play on gold today, tomorrow, maybe up until Friday. Hopefully that would play out. Remember, I'm on the 4-hour frame. Let's take a look at BTC. This is an interesting one. Because on the daily market breakdown, I was waiting to see what happened to the price at this level. And I was hoping that the price would have a strong reaction here. And then this would have been a really nice spot to eventually push down. I just got a warning on the YouTube stream that you guys might not be seeing this in good enough quality. Drop down to poor. Oh. Why is the internet lagging a little bit? That's quite frustrating, isn't it? Okay, I won't mess with the internet. I don't want this stream to completely break, but hopefully it is bringing in what I'm trying to say. Through on your side. I'll leave it there for now. But BTC. Oh, we've dropped back to XAU now. Okay, hold on. BTC is an interesting one and upsetting one as well. Very upsetting because we're seeing just this massive sell-off. Oh dear, look at that. Any of you BTC traders must be feeling pretty, oh no. Are we now on our way toward another little crypto winter? Potentially it's coming back down to this region here, and it may just end up consolidating for a while. I've been seeing a lot of news and people just chatting in the communities about crypto that a lot of these larger organizations and companies and BTC holders, they're just liquidating their positions. So, you know, got to be kind of fearful of that, and that might be putting a lot of pressure down on BTC. Yeah. Ooh, $15,000 before. Ooh, now we're just seeing this huge push down. It's really nice to see that BTC has so much historical data now that we can actually look back and just see this market structure forming the way it is. But BTC is a sentiment-driven financial instrument, so you always got to be really, really careful, and it's hugely open to manipulation. So anyway, right now on the weekly, we can see that the price has now re-entered into this weekly demand. So I am hopeful of a reaction at this point. If not, we might see the price have a reaction at this point before seeing it push back up. I am overall, I know everything is on its way down. I am actually quite hopeful that BTC will hit the 90,000 mark by the end of this year. So we've got a lot of room to grow. So I'm actually looking for long position. I know we're in a short, as in we're in a bear market, but I'm actually looking for long positions on BTC. Eventually, where the reversal is going to occur, that's what I'm going to look at. Right? So that's what I'm keeping my eye open for. And I just want to ride it back up to the 90,000 mark. That is my overall goal with BTC. So I won't go into too much detail. I won't be going into too much into the BTC technical analysis at all, because yeah, we are trending down. If you're looking for shorts, completely understand. You might want to. We might see a pullback up to this point here. And then you can continue into the downside again. That would be, if you're looking for shorting positions. What I'll do is we can look at the NASDAQ 100, because holy, right? It has just been pushing up so nicely. In fact, I believe my portfolio averaged out around here. So I was pretty happy. This was my entry points over here. We're just seeing this huge explosive growth into the upside on NASDAQ 100, which is the top 100 companies listed in the United States. So NASDAQ 100 is pushing up really nicely, telling us that we're potentially in a risk-on situation where people are more open to investing into more riskier types of assets. I guess not as risky. This isn't as risky as crypto. Don't get me wrong there, but it's just more attractive than Forex and DXY. So I can totally understand what could be pushing this up as well. So hitting all-time highs on the S&P 500, which is fantastic, great for any long-term investors. What we're seeing at the moment on, I won't do the weeks. No. We'll drop down low. I'm just looking at oil at the moment. Liquid gold is starting to raise up. Okay, so it's starting to push back up. Will it hit that 100 mark? Gold is a really nice, oil is a really nice representation to tell us whether or not the market feels as though conflict is going to be resolved within those regions. If it's surging upward, then we are likely seeing, then the market is likely thinking, no, the conflict is not going to be resolved. And so that's why it's good to keep an eye on oil. It's good to keep an eye on the stock market in general anyway, especially when trading CFDs and Forex and commodities, which, by the way, oil is technically a commodity. So, all right, let's head back to GBP USD and see where we are at the moment. Ooh, a lot of buying pressure here on the lower frames. We can see that the price came down, almost stopped me out here. And then this would have, yeah, if I was actually watching this, I would have likely used this as my entry. Yeah, nice break here. It came back in. That was nice. That was. So that would have been roughly what I would have waited for to have then entered. It's a nice rejection. Although I don't like it being a really strong bullish candle. It's kind of annoying. I'll leave that where it is for now, but yeah, hopefully we'll see the price retrace back up into this area. It seems that there were a lot of people who were trying to short the market from this position, and that's what created this. That's what created this candle here. That's what created this candle here, pushing the price down temporarily. Nothing really going on in the community chats on TradingView. They are usually very fun to watch, read. Oh, that's the 5-minute frame. Also says Spain, a service PMI that reassures on the surface, worries in depth. Okay, that's an odd thing. Euro US dollar, current live market price 1.16133. Okay, and then the community really gone downhill on TradingView. Ooh, here we go. Look at this. Oh, and that's the, oh, nice. Look at that. We're starting to see the manipulation on the USD JPY. Just a shot in the dark. Why not, right? 1 to 4. Why not, right? If I were to, I'm not actually entering. I'm just for fun. Like, why wouldn't I, right? If we're starting to see something like this, what is this? Oh, this is the hour. My bad. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. Well, wow. Okay. What are we? 3 minutes away from the 15-minute candle closing. Look at that. Look at that push down. My goodness. What are people saying in the community? Waiting for them to pull back massively for a few weeks and look for a good long trade. You want to wait for several weeks while this market pushes down so you can look for a long. That doesn't make much sense. Why not you just short the market? Write it down, then write it back up. Where are you going now? Stay up. Ooh, I don't think if it does continue down, then this individual was quite clearly not reading what Bank of Japan's been doing. I wonder how much people got stopped. Yeah, me too. Yeah. Never got so fast into a short. Never got so fast into a short. Yeah, see, I'm doing the same thing, right? Come on, weak yen, drop more, please. Storm. Okay. Just people hoping that the bank continues to buy back their currency, revaluing the Japanese yen. And we might be saying that. Okay. Oh, what's this? Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that was an unexpected move, but as in for it to go so quickly into the upside, but who am I to complain? If that's where we're going, DXY should be down then. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of push down. Here we go. Let's just stay on GBP for the time being. We got 8 seconds for that candle to close. Cool. If anybody was following this trade, what I would do is I'd bring this to about half. Bring my stop up to about half. So then it just becomes a 0.5, not a 1-2, right? Just for general risk management, that's what I would do if I was actually in that trade, which I'm not. But this is just for representation. So you can quite clearly see that, yeah, maybe we're going to hit our TP. Hopefully it doesn't just come back down now, but hopefully we'll see it push up a little bit more, it seems as though the market has quite a bit of momentum, or you could just exit now because we're in that zone. So if you've made a few $100s from that trade, well done. Euro is just not wanting to move, even though this is the biggest traded Forex pair in the world. It doesn't want to move, but yeah, I'd remain in that long position. I quite like where we are. We're within inside that demand zone, which is pretty good. Remember, this is just more of a joke, but you can quite clearly see that manipulation is starting to occur, and this might push the price down in a flash. It might flash push, like we saw in the previous markets. Who knows? XAU should be up or not, pushing down more. Fair enough. Yeah. So as I said, we might see the price of XAU come down a little bit more toward this area, or we might just see it start to push up again. Hopefully it comes down to this region here, and then we see it push back up. So I guess if you're looking for shorting positions, now might be an interesting time to do so. Let's imagine I do it. It's okay if you get stopped out. Why not? 1 to 2.5. Might need it to be a little bit higher than that, but we'll just stop to be a little bit longer than that, but we'll see. Gold sell setup entry. Everyone's just saying sell. Not really a strategy, that is it? BTC. Ooh, nice, pushing up. Very, very nice. So a very long way to go. Get all the way back up to here, mate. That's pretty far out, I understand. Head back to GBP USD, and we can pretty much just leave it at that. But what quite a large part of this live session is just so that you can see the general logic behind how I do my technical analysis and how I enter into my trades and my positions. My general win rate is roughly between 66-ish% to about 72%, and that's enough to make you a profitable trader. Of course, I'm always looking at refining my experience to increase that win rate. That's the general idea here. Also pretty good for anyone within our community to come and have a discussion with myself during this time. Oh, it'd be really nice if this closed out a position on the live stream. That'd be really, really nice. Although I must admit, this Miraboozle, not really Miraboozle, just this incredibly bullish candle was unexpected. Is there a reason for it? Maybe we'll see something here. Nope. Nope. Surprised that the GBP USD community is pretty silent today. And it's a Wednesday. It's not like GBP to community to be like that. Silence. Okay, seeing some rejection now on these pairs. Where is the days open on the GU? Oh yeah, days open. Okay, well usually we like to see a bit of the price returning to the days open, which wouldn't be completely unexpected. Really nice break up. Look at that. Really nice break up there. I did not draw that very well. Got a really nice breaker structure here on the 5-minute frame. Because of that breaker structure, what we could do is just take these last candles, or we could just take it down to here. So we could see a pullback down to this box here before then continuing up and TPing. That's one potential move. The price will eventually go. Remember, the markets are not perfect, so we always see things moving in zigzags and pullbacks and pushes. Let's head back to, let's see the DXY, let's see if the community is there. Tariffs are coming back through the back door, but the threat is real. Okay, bit of a fear mongerer there. Oh, people on the DXY do not like that this pushed down so aggressively. Perhaps there's something that's come out on the news. Let's take a look. Um, no, there's nothing really being announced there. Oh, something to do with Kuwait getting attacked. US and Iran launched new strikes. Oh, okay. Okay, so more strikes have just occurred. And it seems as though Kuwait has been affected by it. Okay, so that could be a bit of market reaction that we are seeing. But yeah, well, it seems as though those peace talks aren't very peaceful, are they? But hopefully a resolution will occur so that we can return to normal technical analysis for our Forex trading. Okay. Well, we've pretty much come to the uh, end of the hour. Um, Again, what I'm hoping to achieve here with these live streaming sessions is for a lot of you guys, if you're relatively new to trading or find that the London session is a pretty fun time to trade, and you're always welcome to join me within these sessions, have a discussion with me. We can go through some of the your trading strategy, talk a little bit about AIFO, talk about the prop trading industry, and the things such as that. It's perfectly fine. Um, but what I will do is likely leave the session there, the live streaming session there. It would be really awesome to see this just surge up and just take that TP. Um, and eventually TP. But no, it's been really cool to kind of just go through some of the processes that I personally go through and see whether or not if you guys applied it to your own charts and then you learn from it, and hopefully eventually you can apply these concepts to your own trading strategy. So that would be really awesome if you guys can eventually. The 5 minute candle is about to close in about 20 seconds. So I'll wait for that 20 seconds, see what that closure does. Hopefully it hits that TP. I don't see that particularly happening, but if it does, that would be absolutely wonderful. 5 more seconds. Okay. There's that closure of that 5 minute candle. But if you're looking to shorting the market as well, you can quite clearly see that the price nicely came up here and left a nice entry for you guys to then ride it or continue riding it down to whichever location you guys are looking for. I'm bullish on GBP USD, but this is why I'm not really trading that much in the markets, because as we can see, new fresh strikes have occurred, and this is what happens to the market. Technicals go out the window. So we should be pushing up, but we're pushing down. And when everything seems to be settling, we're pushing up again. So it's too unpredictable. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for joining me on this live streaming session. Like I said, we're doing this every Wednesday for the London session. So feel free to join me in those future sessions. I'll leave it there for now, but thank you very much for joining. And for any of you who are replaying this, I hope you learned something. All right, bye for now, and I'll see you all next week.